Okay, so today we're going to start with the vertical line test, and that's a way that you can tell if something is a function. So if you draw a vertical line at any point on the graph and it crosses once, then it is a function. So cross once is a function. However, if you see over here on the right, if you draw a vertical line and then it crosses more than once, like this, so 2 or more times, that's a 2 plus, so 2 or more times, then it is not a function. Including like these points down here, because if I draw a vertical line, it's going to cross all 4 times. So that is the vertical line test. Function notation is kind of a fancy way of saying y. So this right here, we read this as f of x. And it's kind of the same thing as if this was like a y. So this would be y equals 3x plus 2, f of x equals 3x plus 2. It's the same exact thing. Now, to evaluate these functions, there's kind of 2 different ways. The first one is you're going to have f of x equals something, or maybe g of x, h of x, whatever it is. You're going to take this number, and it goes in the front, and this goes away. So this becomes 3 equals 8x minus 3. Then all you do is solve for x. So add 3 to both sides. And then I'm going to move this over here, 6 equals 8x. Divide by 8, so x is 6 over 8. And that would be my answer for that one. Now the next one's a little bit different. So if the number is inside the parentheses, it goes inside the equation. So it's going to go right here in place of x. Again, you can ignore this, and we're going to have negative 3 times negative 3 plus 7, which gives me 9 plus 7, which is 16. So if you see f of x equals something, like let's say 7, it goes on the outside. But if you see f of 7, it goes on the inside. Okay, so these are 2 for you to try on your own, if you would like to try those. And then I'll go ahead and do them now. Oh, this should be a j, by the way. So 4 equals negative 2x minus 3. Add 3 to both sides. So I get 7 equals negative 2x. So x would equal negative 3.5. On this one, it's on the inside, so it goes on the inside. So 7 times negative 2 plus 15, which would be negative 14 plus 15, which is 1. Okay, this next part should be kind of a review. It's making an equation from a chart. So you can do it our old way, where you like find the slope and then plug it in and everything, imagining that these are points like 1, 1, and 2, 4, and then like finding our slope that way. So like 4 minus 1 over 2 minus 1. Or another thing you can do is if you just look at the y's, right here, every time it goes up by 3. So that's going to be my slope. And now to find your b, you can either use point slope form, or we know that b is when x is 0. So I'm just going to go backwards. So when x is 0, I'm going to subtract 3 here, and I would get negative 2 for my b. So my equation would be y equals 3x minus 2. So that's another way that you can do that. So here, you can take a second and try this one on your own if you would like to. But if we're looking at our y's here, it goes up by 15 each time, and our x's are going up by 1. So 15 over 1 is just 15, so my m is 15. And then I can work backwards to find my intercept. So when x is 0, my y would be, well, if I take away 15, I have 2 left. So my y-intercept, my b, is going to be 2. So this would give me y equals 15x plus 2. This next one here, it says that she's recording the temperature. It starts at negative 3 degrees at 6 a.m. and it increases by 2 degrees every hour. So let's start with just that and write an equation based on that. So if it goes up by 2 degrees every single hour, that's going to be my slope. And if my starting point is negative 3, that's going to be my b. So I will get f of x equals 2x minus 3. And I write f of x because it wants a function. And then to figure out what it is at 2 p.m., all we're going to do is plug in a number for x. So from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., 8 hours pass. So I'm going to put in 8 for x, and I would get 16 minus 3, which is 13. So 13 would be the degrees at 2 p.m. The last part here is asking for a reasonable domain. So if we're thinking about domain, the domain is the x's, and for x, we're putting in the hours. And there are 24 hours in a day, so we went between 0 and 24 hours. And if you remember, our format is kind of like the smallest number less than or equal to x less than or equal to the largest number. So I'm going to have 0 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 24, because it's between 0 and 24 hours. The last part here should be a review again from last unit. You're just going to graph these equations just like we learned before. So just imagine this is like a y, and you graph it the exact same way. So we started our b, so I'm going to start at -3. I'm going to do my slope of 2. So up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, and then just connect them. And then for this one, I'm going to start at +2, so start up at 2, and then my slope of -1/3. So I'm going to go down 1 and then to the right 3, down 1 to the right 3, and connect those dots.